Nobody was expecting me to be on this team. Honestly, we know what the views are of this organization from the outside, but I knew enough people in it to know that we could do something special and that we could potentially change some minds and some views. And
when Sydney Colson decided to leave the Las Vegas Aces, the entire WNBA establishment was stunned. She walked away from a championship dynasty, from being A'ja Wilson's best friend, and from guaranteed success. But what she revealed in her latest interview changes everything about how we see her, the Indiana Fever, and Caitlin Clark. This wasn't about rejecting anyone. It was about answering a calling. Colson saw something in Indiana that nobody else did, and her faith in this young team is about to rewrite the Fever's entire future and put the WNBA old guard in its place. Do you stand with Sid and Caitlin? Then let us know down in the comments below.
Let's start first with just the special season you guys have had with the Indiana Fever this year. I think it can be summed up by your end of season Instagram post. Let's take a look at this post from you, Sid. And in the in the caption, you said, "Genuinely enjoyed this team and what we did on the court and in the showers." You're so silly. "I knew in the off season that God was placing me where I needed to be to grow and learn some necessary lessons. And that's exactly what happened."
So what does a player with 2 championship rings think about when she's offered a chance to leave it all behind? The past offseason presented Sydney Colson with a choice that genuinely surprised people around the league. The Las Vegas Aces offered a clear path to more championships, a familiar system, and the comfort of playing alongside her best friend, A'ja Wilson. It was the safe bet. But then the phone rang, and it was the Indiana Fever's front office. General Manager Amber Cox and head coach Stephanie White were on the line, and they presented a different kind of opportunity entirely. This wasn't just another contract negotiation. It was an invitation to become part of something being built from the ground up.
There's clearly so much love for your team. There's a huge free agency on the way. This roster may not ever look the same again. So for you, like, what made this team so special and one to remember in your career?
You know, in the off season, it was obviously like a tough decision for me. I've been with the Aces for so long, and we did some amazing things together as a team. And like I said in the post, I could just feel, God, when you could just feel like you need to get uncomfortable, or like you're being pushed in a direction, and because it makes you uncomfortable, kind of don't want to do it.
Colson later described this moment as a profound leap of faith. She felt she was being guided to a place where she needed to be for her own growth, to learn necessary lessons. This aligns with a pattern we see across sports, where veteran players sometimes seek roles where their leadership can have a maximum cultural impact, rather than just chasing another ring on a stacked roster. The public narrative immediately assumed this move was about money, or a guarantee of more minutes on the court.
I think the older I've gotten, the stronger my faith has gotten. I run to the uncomfortable, honestly, because I know on the other side there's going to be some lesson that I needed, and that was what happened this season.
The Fever's front office had a very deliberate strategy. They targeted Colson early in free agency, specifically for her personality and her ability to catalyze a young team's development. Amber Cox said they wanted someone who could lead the team and bring a lot of fun and levity to the locker room. They recognized her value as a culture setter, a 2-time champion who could instill a winning mentality in a developing roster. So what was the real reason she picked up the phone and said yes to Indiana? Colson framed it as a spiritual and personal necessity.
Nobody was expecting me to be on this team. Honestly, we know what the views are of this organization from the outside, but I knew enough people in it to know that we could do something special and that we could potentially change some minds and some views. And
it was a step into discomfort guided by faith, not a simple basketball calculation. She saw it as a chance to change minds about the Fever organization and to do something special. This single decision set the stage for a chain of events that would completely redefine her career and the entire identity of the Indiana Fever. The news of Sydney Colson's move to Indiana sent genuine shockwaves through the league. She wasn't just another free agent switching teams. She was A'ja Wilson's best friend, a core part of the Aces championship culture. Her departure from Las Vegas immediately created a conflict against the WNBA old guard.
I mean, when you put yourself out there, you also put yourself out there to haters. So how do you handle that aspect of it?
Oh man, I used to just troll them back. Cause like there's nothing that you can say about me that'll hurt my feelings. Like I literally do not know you. And some of the responses are bots. You know, for me to get my feelings hurt about people, I gotta respect you. I gotta value your opinion. A lot of things go into it.
Colson's decision was interpreted by some as a quiet betrayal of that established order. Given her incredibly close friendship with Wilson, a symbol of the veteran core, her choice to join Clark's team felt like a significant statement. The narrative suggested that no veteran would want to play with Caitlin Clark, framing the Fever as an undesirable destination. This set up an expectation for how Colson should behave upon her arrival.
So like you being a stranger, I could care less about you talking about how many points I'll score in minutes. I don't care.
No, they'll see you and ask for a picture, you know? But you haven't shied away from it.
But Colson's first actions in Indiana directly confronted this narrative head-on. Instead of keeping her distance or making vague comments, she embraced her new teammate with genuine enthusiasm. During her introductory press conference, she described the situation as nuts and special. She pointed to the economic impact Clark had already brought to Indianapolis, noting people were traveling from out of state and even out of the country to see games.
And I loved seeing you and Caitlin Clark's relationship. You know, you guys are always cracking jokes on social media, on your live. And obviously she's a game-changing player for the league. So like, what has it been like, you know, getting to know her humor, and seeing firsthand all that's coming her way?
It was cool being on a team with her, getting to see her in another light. Was really cool.
By immediately embracing Clark and the Fever's project, Colson rejected the anti-Clark narrative that the league's establishment seemed to expect. She set a tone of unity that would prove crucial for the team's chemistry moving forward. Once Colson arrived in Indiana, she gained a front-row seat to the Caitlin Clark phenomenon. But her perspective was different from everyone else's. It was shaped by years of professional experience and 2 championship rings. While the public saw a scoring machine and a media sensation, Colson observed the immense pressure and the young woman underneath the spotlight. She saw Clark in another light, noticing the significant weight she carried simply as a person entering the league with unprecedented attention.
Over the course of her career, I think, you know, we haven't had many instances where we've seen like Caitlin, Angel, Paige, like players come in with the sort of notoriety that they had, the sort of money that they're making, the attention, everything. It's a lot for a young person to be dealing with, on top of pressure to do well as a basketball player, to lead your teams, all of that. So it was good to be able to see like a lighter side of her. You know, I think
Colson described the experience as cool because it allowed her to see a lighter side of Clark. She acknowledged that players like Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Buchers arrive with a level of notoriety and financial resources that is a lot for any young person to handle. The transition to professional sports is mentally taxing for any young player, but it's exponentially harder when you have massive expectations placed on you before you even step on the court. Veteran mentorship becomes critical for navigating this unique pressure, and Colson stepped into that role naturally.
Unfortunately, when she was injured, you're having to adjust your mindset. You're having to get mentally tougher because I think she had like a bad injury before. So now you're having to watch your team from the outside is still, you know, I would be talking to her a lot about, you know, make sure you're still being vocal. You know, you don't want to lose this time with your teammates, and because you're injured or sidelined, you're not still using the opportunity to lead or to grow relationships. Don't let it be a wasted season just because you can't physically contribute.
When Clark's season was suddenly derailed by injury, Colson's purpose on the team shifted. It became less about on-court play and more about off-court leadership. Injuries can easily isolate a player from the team's daily rhythm, so active efforts from teammates to keep an injured player engaged are a true hallmark of a strong team culture. Colson recognized that Clark, who hadn't faced significant injuries before, now had to adapt her mindset and build mental toughness from the sidelines.